Welcome back to another episode of Dos Minutos. My name is Amir. We got Ernest here from Miami Heat Talk. Ernest, how are you doing today?
Living the dream, living the dream.
Well, I'm glad you're here for another episode. We had an episode last week. Seems like you guys are liking this new series, so we wanted to bring back another episode for you guys today. But before we get started on today's episode, don't forget to go to Ernest's channel, Miami Heat Talk. He's on his path to 5,000 subscribers. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm pushing for 2,000 subscribers as well. So thank you for the support.
Yeah, and don't forget our boys from the round table, Miami Heat Zone podcast, Martel, Amir, Miami Heat, Amir, Trent, Miami Heat Network, and don't forget, subscribe to the Miami Heat team to beat as well. Yeah, you got to support the boys.
Yes, sir. So, Ernest, yesterday the Miami Heat won the Summer League championship, baby. So,
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, what's more valid, the Miami Heat Summer League championship or the Celtics, fake championship run last season?
Don't ask me that question. Let's move on from that. No, the Summer League
Obviously,
championship is better, of course.
obviously, the Miami Heat championship is more meaningful, right? So,
Facts, yeah.
either way, it was an exciting Summer League team and arguably the best Miami Heat summer team that we've had. And so we have a lot of young and exciting players, obviously, in our pipeline now on this roster, which is giving me some hope for the future because we've lost guys like Caleb Martin and then obviously a few seasons ago, Max Struess, Gabe Vincent. So what are some of your takeaways just from the game and just like the impact that this will have on the Miami Heat moving forward?
It shows me that what people have been saying, knocking the Heat about, oh, you're letting Gabe Vincent, Max Struess, and Caleb Martin walk for nothing because you think you can make more. It shows me that, yeah, we can. I mean, would it have been smart to let those guys go, like to trade them for pieces? Hindsight looking at it 2020, sure. But it tells me that this Miami Heat team has the confidence of knowing that we're not going to make the same mistakes that we made back in 2018. We know that we can develop, promising pieces that people have overlooked, outcasts. We can turn them into quality role players and potentially even stars in other team. So it shows me that that's just not a one-time thing that the Heat have done. The Heat are constantly showing you over and over again that their system works, their developmental system works, their Heat culture, as they like to say, works, because when they get these guys buy in to the system, and it doesn't always work. Look at RJ Hampton last year, former first-round draft pick. He was brought into the Heat. You thought that he would do it. Didn't really work out. It's only specific pieces. In the 2022 season, I mentioned it in our other episode, that was a year where you had a lot of these undrafted guys like Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, Max Struess step up, and they helped out in a season where you were the first seed when some of your major players were out. And that is what it feels like it's translating to possibly for the 24-25 season, that you're going to see there's going to be stretches in the season, possibly like in January, February, where Bam might miss a game, Jimmy might miss a game, Jovic might miss a game, certain guys might miss a game, and then you're going to see guys like Kel'el Ware, Josh Christopher, Keshad Johnson. They're going to step up and they're going to have their games as we've seen other players do before. So this gets me excited because it shows me that this Miami Heat team has not only set themselves up to win now, but also for the future.
No, I agree. And I love that you mentioned the 16, 18 mistakes that we made by paying guys like Dion Waiters and James Johnson these like contracts. We didn't want to do that same thing because Max was looking for 50 to 60 million. Gabe was looking for 30 to 40 million. Caleb got his 35 million. Like, we can't afford these guys. Maybe it was a mistake to your point. But hindsight's 2020. Like, maybe we could have got a draft pick for some of these guys, or maybe even not, because other people sometimes see them as undrafted players at the time.
Yep.
Perhaps, right? They want to kind of see what happens at the end of the season before they were willing to give up an asset. Once they see that they can actually complete a full season, that's where they get in these good offers. And it's hit or miss. Like, Max is proving, DJJ is right now is proving, and even I bet you Gabe, if he was healthy last year, would have proved that not all players are flops when they go to different teams, because that's been a sentiment, right? That like they're system players, kind of like an NFL system quarterback, right? Like it's all about the system and not their skill set. And I'm hoping Caleb Martin and other guys can also prove um, people wrong, especially saying that like no, it is the system that developed them, gave them the opportunity, but it helped them grow and blossom so they could be good elsewhere. Um, what are your thoughts on Kel'el Ware? Obviously, he is a breath of fresh air. 15th pick. We've done it again, right outside the lottery, but still, we're hitting on picks like Bam Adebayo at 13. Tyler was like 14. As much shit as we talk on Tyler Hero, still one of the best players in his draft class. Still a very good high level role player, right? Should be a sixth man, but we hit on that. We hit on Bam. It seems like we're hitting on him at 15, Jaime at 18, so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on Kel'el and his prospects for next season?
I mean, isn't he from the first round centers that were taken? Hasn't he like played the best? He was all first team in the summer league, and you know what? You can say, summer league, fine, but he's shown consistency every game. He's going out there and he's getting like at even with the games that he maybe scores 11 to 12 points, he's grabbing 10 to 11 rebounds. He's doing all the things that this Miami Heat team has been dying for, clamoring, needing. Can he be better in the 3-point shot? Sure. I think he shot like maybe 20% from 3-point line, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. It's not large. It's not like his 43% in college, but his attempts aren't high. That's going to develop. He's proven that he can hit the 3-point shot. So for me, if you can show that you can do it, right there, you're telling me that your 3-point shot is way better than Bam Adebayo's was in 2017 when he got drafted. And look at him now. If you work on something, you will get better. So I know the 3-point shot's going to be there. What I like about Kel'el Ware is that he gives us something we don't have: interior presence and scoring, and my God, rebounding. I can't tell you how many Heat games I'd watched last year, and I'm just like, rebound the ball, just get the ball. Like I would see so many offensive where the team would just get like 5 offensive rebounds, where it's just Bam fighting for a rebound. You have a guy that can rebound the ball. You also have a guy that's going to finally give you more than a block shot a game. You haven't had that in a few years. So I think Kel'el Ware just gives us a different dynamic. Whether he starts next to Bam or whether he comes off the bench, we're finally having something we haven't had in years. I mean, a few years ago, our 3-man forward rotation was Bam Adebayo, PJ Tucker, and Caleb Martin. Now it's Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic, and Kel'el Ware. It's a lot bigger to me and possibly a lot better.
Yeah, that's a great point too. You mentioned earlier that he was I forgot he was the first team summer league, and he was one of only 2 rookies. Him and Reed Shepherd from the Houston Rockets were the only rookies on that list. The other guys were like Scottie Pippen Jr., who we beat in the finals. He's a second-year player,
Yep.
and the other 2 guys were second-year players that actually played in the NBA last season. So that tells you a lot there. And I don't know what his
Consistent.
averages were, right? Yeah, exactly. And I don't know his averages. I think it was something like 17 and 9
It
or
was like,
something,
18 points a game, 10 rebounds, something like that.
something
Like,
crazy. A couple blocks. Like he looked like he belongs. Like he's showing like, oh, like I'm not above summer league, but like these aren't NBA players. Like I'm gonna stand out because I'm better than all you guys right now. And that he's showing that. He showed that, and it's gonna be exciting to see him play for the Miami Heat next season, and we're all hoping maybe there's some times where he can play next to Bam Adebayo. He's not going to start anytime soon, but are there going to be some staggered minutes where Bam's going to be coming off the bench and they keep Kel'el Ware and they put Bam next to Kel'el Ware at the 4? That could be interesting, right? Because I don't think they're going to start next to each other anytime soon. But I want Spo to tinker and see if there's any opportunity just in a game where he could put them next to each other. So Bam has some good guys next to him next season.
yeah, I
Now,
mean, Spo's at Team USA right now. He's seeing how Bam works at the 4 next to Anthony Davis. So, I mean, you got to play with that. You got to play with it. I think it's something you're definitely going to see. Bam's talked about it. You know, Andy Ellsberg's talked about it. People are already talking about it. So I know you're going to see that during the season.
100%. And the good thing, though, also is whatever combination Bam plays with outside of Thomas Bryant, I guess, if he's playing next to Jovic, if Jovic is starting, that's another guy right next to Bam who could stretch the floor, and Bam is doing that too, as we're also seeing, right? As we saw last season and in the FIBA friendly pre-qualified games, Bam is hitting that three in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So those two can be a threat. You mentioned it earlier, Kel'el Ware, even though he's not shooting the best and hasn't shot more than a few attempts per game, even some summer league games he didn't even shoot a three. But if he could be that stretch five next to Bam, that's two bigs that could shoot the three. And then, of course, Kevin Love coming off the bench next to Bam. We already know that he could be a sniper as well.
Yep.
So, and when the Miami Heat's a good 3-point shooting team, when we're top 5 in 3-point percentage as a team, that's when we've like performed the best in the regular season. So that's something we definitely need is 3-point shooting. And we have the bigs now that can do that and the size for rebounding.
He's going to give that. And just like you said, we have the bigs that do that. And just to be exact, I pulled the numbers. In Summer League, Kel'el Ware averaged 17.4 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1.6 blocks, actually shot 33% from the 3-point line. So not much horrible. Higher than I predicted. Yeah, not horrible. And 58% for the field. So he was very consistent. There weren't bad games. That was one thing that I really loved. You know, Donovan Clegane, there were other guys that were drafted higher than him. Alex Czar, that just had terrible summer league games. And this dude was Mr. Consistent. What does that tell me? Heat culture all the way.
And he's adaptable. He's learning. He's listening to his coach. His performances only improved. Of course, the only damn summer league game they technically lost, even though the California Classic is a separate tournament than the Vegas Summer League. They went 6-1 or 5-1, whatever. Of course, the only game that I went to and saw Kel'el was the game they lost here in San Francisco at the Chase Center, and that was
bad luck.
Exactly. That was Kel'el's worst game, even though he had 5 blocks, but he had 11 points, 5 rebounds. He had the 5 blocks in that game.
And still, look at that. I mean, it's a consistent game, even though it's a bad game. 11 points and 5 blocks. Not a stinker. Not a great game, but not a stinker. So I like that.
Could have been worse, but that improvement, you saw that development in a short time span in 6 games, where his pick and roll offense improved drastically. Like him using his size, to your point, rebounding and shooting over smaller defenders. It was really good to see. So anyway, that's all we have for this episode of Dos Minutos. We really appreciate you guys supporting both of our channels. Let us know in the comments, though, what kind of content do you want us to make? Is there any topics you want us to cover specifically for next week? Because right now that the games are over, I think the next thing we're going to be focusing on is probably the Olympics. We got Bam Adebayo and Jovic, who are going to be playing against each other, Ernest, this Sunday. They're in the same group. So Serbia versus Team USA. And Bam is going to be guarding Jovic and vice versa. Should be super interesting. So I'm assuming Embiid or AD are going to be guarding Jokic. So look out for that Miami Heat matchup. Maybe next week we can go over that game. But anyway,
nice.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to subscribe again to my channel and, of course, Ernest's channel, Miami Heat Talk. And, of course, we're not going to forget the Roundtable boys, Trent and Martel as well. So go to their channels as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.
Support the channel. That's enough said. Yeah, buddy.